statistical analysis from the National Institute of Mental Health states that 1 in 6 Americans suffer from mental illness. This means that the likelihood of you meeting somebody with mental illness is very high, even if you don't know somebody personally that might have it. Everybody needs a day off. This could be a vacation or just a day off from work. Everybody needs just a break from life to focus on themselves. As teachers, we will come across this quite frequently. Students will not be performing as well as they usually are, or you might notice that they are more distant in the classroom. Like I said, if you do not know somebody personally who has mental illness, you might meet somebody who does. I'm here to inform you that I do have mental illness. I have severe anxiety. And for me, this means school is really hard. I found myself not wanting to go to school for certain things like a performance or I had to speak in front of the class and I would try to take a day off, or I would just be really overwhelmed with work and not be able to focus on myself. So I would really indulge myself into school, and so I really wish I had this opportunity before, which I'll get to what I'm talking about in a minute. The overall purpose of this speech is to inform and educate about mental illness, specifically how a mental health day would help students in the future. In this speech, I will touch on behavior expectations from a student who suffers from mental illness, how taking a mental health day will improve student performance, and what schools have started this way of thinking and implementing it in their school. First, you need to know the signs. There are many different signs, however, these are the few that you would really notice in your classroom and is not so personal that you would have to indulge deep to know if the student has these issues. So, according to the National Alliance of Mental Illness, the most prominent are troubles concentrating or learning, extreme mood changes, avoiding friends or social activities. So for a student, for example, and you see them and they're not hanging around their friends as much as they used to, or they're a really good student but all of a sudden they're not doing so good on their work, you might notice that they're suffering from something. They might not exactly have a mental illness, but they could be going through a lot, and it's really easy to find that in your classroom because not all students are bad. Even if they're not doing good in your class, it doesn't mean they're a bad student. They could just be having a bad day, a bad week, a bad month. Mental illness can come out in many different ways, and it is important to acknowledge the signs and see if the student really just needs a day off. Secondly, due to the stress of school, on top of mental health, other things can burn you out, like social activities or after-school programs or honors programs. It's a lot. Students can burn themselves out because they don't focus about other things. They're focusing on everything else except for themselves. According to Michael Murphy and others who have doctorates, mental health was a significant predictor of future academic success. When they were studying students that were of a younger age, they noticed that if they taught students at a younger age about mental health and how to help themselves through mental issues and making themselves become more mentally healthy, that they did better in the future on academic things. Like they were able to focus on their school life, but also balance a really good way of social life. So they weren't stressing themselves out. They still had time for themselves. But if we don't focus on that, then they will have those problems in the future. Mental health is a big part of people's lives, and when students push it aside, it can be really stressful and cause a lot of problems just overall in their lives. In addition to school performance, many schools have noticed the progress and put it into action. According to Derek Taylor, a news reporter for New York Times, both Utah and Oregon have started this way of thinking. They have started mental health days. And this means that they have opened a new discussion for students to talk about. They're like, okay, I see that this is an issue and I'm letting you talk about it and I'm letting you take a day off for yourself. They're just there to support the students and let them make their own decisions. Oregon and Utah are paving the way towards student success and overall health, and opening up a new discussion for happier students and a better quality of life for students. All in all, schools recognizing mental health through excused absences has improved the quality of student success. As future teachers, it is really important that we know the signs, we know what to do, and how we could help, even if it's not a mental health day. We can just do something and just understand that, okay, I see you're struggling and I'm here for you. Just be there for them. You have seen what mental health signs there are, specifically ones that are really easy for you to find. You can see how it improves student success when you focus on mental health and giving them the resources. And you have seen what schools have opened this new discussion and allowed more schools to start thinking about allowing students to have mental health days. I'm emotionally tied to this topic specifically because I have anxiety, and I have found myself in these situations where I've been so stressed out with school and not focusing on myself that I really suffered from it. And I think that it is really great to see that other schools are realizing that it's okay to take a day off from school. Do not burn yourself out, is what I'm saying. Give yourself a spa day, give your brain a spa day, and just focus on yourself for a while.